Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the New Haven Independent Vlog News Summary, direct from our assignment desk, otherwise known as my compost heap. Let's see what stories we're working on this hour. It's Flag Waving Week, Independence Day, where we celebrate American traditions and values that we hold dear. We fly different flags based on how we interpret those values. Here's the one I'm flying this year that I believe in. Well, here's another American tradition, contested elections. These are Martin Looney potholders. He's not running against a strong opponent this year. But there is a real election for state legislative office, which doesn't often happen in New Haven. Well, in the 94th district, Robin Porter, the incumbent, resigned. And we have two leading candidates who are doing a great competitive election. Abdul Azmanu and Steve Winter for a Democratic primary coming right up. They're knocking on doors, hitting out stuff, representing different constituencies that need to be heard. Democratic Socialists of America, the AFL-CIO. Great race. That's what we celebrate. Independent political tradition. Keys to a home, that's an important independent tradition in America, which is to have a decent place to live and the keys to your home. There's a different American tradition that we're also bumping up against, which is private ownership of affordable housing with a business model to exploit people. Now this week a fifth tenant union formed to fight conditions at Ocean Management Properties, showed up on State Street in a big building where the conditions are terrible. While they were there with the politicians, the lights went out because it turned out that Ocean Management doesn't just rip off the tenants, they rip off their lenders. So there's a receiver who's collecting the rents and not paying the electric bill. So this Independence Day, we need independence from slumlords, and we need to celebrate the American tradition of union organizing, because that's what brings results. Bike helmets are a way to stay independent and free when you're traveling around. Liam Brennan ran for mayor last year, promoting more bike infrastructure. Now he was back in the news this week because he wanted to promote independent living for his parents who are getting old. He has a dad in his 90s, kind of declining, his mother's still alive. He wants to build a second deck on his garage and convert it into an apartment where they can live independently instead of going to a home and he could be nearby. Some neighbor fought it, but luckily he's going to do it, which is what we need. They're called ADUs, accessible dwelling units. That's how we attack affordable housing. That's how we keep people independent. That's how we make it a better city. Well, I got a calculator on my phone so I can add up all sorts of tax stuff when I'm trying to make a decision about finances. There's a new budget lab that started at Yale. It's called the Budget Lab, with some hotshot economists from federal government think tanks saying to make independent, smart decisions, you need independent analysis of laws before we pass them. We're doing in-depth studies in time for big decisions next year. Do we extend the tax cuts that are expiring on a federal level, or do we modify them? Child tax credit back into the mix. Independent thinking for independent decisions, great American traditions. It's the New Haven Independent, bound volume, 1986 to 87. The first year the Independent was in business as a print weekly newspaper. And we're still putting out the Independent now as an online, local, independent news site. We have people who weren't even born back then when it was a print newspaper and now writing the great articles independent. We're so lucky we get to do that, to be free in America. We're not jailed yet. So I feel so lucky to celebrate this Independence Week that I get to do independent journalism with great independent journalists in a city that supports us. So thank you. Till next time, here's the New Haven Independent Vlog News Summary, and remember, always pick up your trash.